It's Thursday, 5 o'clock. This is Tony and Chelsea Live.
It's the live show where we review your photos. We get guest photographers to come on that are professionals in their field, the best of the best, to look at your photos and give you tips. So if you haven't already, go to sdp.io/submit and submit your fashion photos today. This is going to be a really good show because we have professional photographer. He's a fashion photographer. He shot for Elle. He shot for Harper's BAZAAR. He shot for Vogue. And he's here to help you review your pictures. It's Benjamin Kanarek. Thank you, Benjamin, for joining us. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm fine. I'm so excited to be here with you guys and to just discuss the fashion business and critique people's work and perhaps help them in their direction.
Before we started, I wanted to show people a few of your photos. Oh, I see that Justin is playing one of your videos.
Oh, our Elle film. Yes, our Elle film with the gorgeous Alexis Capone. Yes.
This is from your Elle magazine story?
Yes, it is. Yes.
I loved your photos from the shoot.
Yeah, absolutely stunning stuff.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. So I wanted to show people a few of your photos as well. Oh, there's one from your...
me with Sasha Loose. Yeah.
That's you. And then this is from your Elle shoot. What was it called? The story was something about wool. Sorry, I forgot.
Cool wool.
Cool wool. Beautiful. A few more photos just to get people familiar with your work. They're stunning.
Yeah.
And I loved the series. I was digging through your website. Really gorgeous, the red and the blue. Look at the colors, the tones, the everything.
Oh, this girl, by the way, Michelle Buswell, she was the, if you go back to YouTube and check out, pardon me, the Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal cologne and perfumes, she was the girl in all of those very sexy ads where she's lying in bed and the male model gets up and leaves. And then they do another commercial where he's lying in bed and he smells the pillowcase and she gets up and leaves the scene. This is her. This is Michelle Buswell, by the way. I'll give you a little bit of story behind the...
She's gorgeous and these photos are gorgeous. So if you have not already, submit your photos because Benjamin's going to be looking at them and giving tips and giving general tips on the fashion industry. How long have you been doing this for, Ben?
30 years.
30 years. He's got a lot of advice to give, and he's generous enough to do that today. Before we start, I wanted to... Can we go back to the slides? Because I wanted to tell them what we're doing soon, a show coming up. On October 11th, we're doing Portraits with Lindsay Adler. So put it in your calendars. Another wonderful photographer.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I recently met her. She's as nice as she is talented, and I think it's going to be a very good show. So tune in to that.
Beautiful portraits. They look really nice.
Yeah. Let's take a look at some pictures.
Really nice.
Right, let's get into it, Benjamin. This is happening.
Okay.
So, I know. So not everyone is going to have access to Chanel's latest line.
I'm sorry.
But we'll look at people's pictures and see what they're doing right. And you can give some criticisms, what they're doing wrong.
So what is Phil doing right and wrong here, Benjamin?
Well, what do you... I'd love your opinion. How do you feel about this image?
Well, my first reaction is that I like that it's different. I like the swirly look of the lights, the bokeh, and I like her expression. I think that's nice. And
yes.
My critique would be that I think the toning is not quite right. Something a little off there for me. But what do you think?
Well, first off, technically, I think it's a very beautiful image. It's... I like the skin tones for one reason, and that is it kind of is reminiscent of what's very much in style, well, to a certain extent, and that's that 80s look, where we had to, when we were shooting with film, we'd have to blow out the skin because we didn't have Photoshop. So the only way of making the skin look perfect was to overexpose by a stop. So that's the look I'm seeing here. It's kind of 80s, Vogue, Elle. The makeup's a little bit over the top, but why not? It's valid. I think technically it's strong. I really don't have a critique about this. It's all a matter of taste. What is it appropriate for? What support will it be shown in? Which magazine does this speak to?
Is this
Okay,
something that would
sorry, go ahead.
is
Pardon.
this something that would please a client to you? Does this show off a particular piece of clothing? Is that important when doing a
Oh,
shoot?
this is more of a, for me, this would be more of a makeup campaign, or this could be L'Oreal, this could be Maybelline, this could be a mix of an ambient makeup shoot. You could crop it in a bit more if you like. I know you love doing that, Chelsea. So give me some cropping magic.
I actually don't think it needs any.
Okay, all right.
wouldn't.
I thought it was okay.
Okay,
but-
Tony's doing it.
Okay,
You-
kids.
But you know what? Let's go to 8x10.
Does that make you happy? Yeah, okay. I'll tell you where, Tony, you're
Yeah.
almost perfect.
Oh, thank you.
I'll tell you why. Let me.
You mean me personally, or
No, I'm talking because there's a DNA in all of the major groups. There's a DNA in the Elle group. There's a DNA in the Harper's Bazaar group, which is Hearst. Elle is now Hearst. And there's a DNA in Condé Nast, which is Vogue, Glamour, GQ, with whom I photographed recently. What you almost did was almost the perfect Elle crop. Now, let me tell you, do you want to do the perfect Elle crop? But
yeah,
seriously,
tell me.
okay, don't be, okay, I'm going to give you one bit of advice. You'll probably appreciate this. One of my favorite art directors ever, who's iconic, his name was Jacques-Michel Verger. And he worked for a very, very cutting edge, trendy magazine called Depeche Mode. And one day I finished doing the shoot and I brought in my selects and he looked at the images with a loop and he looked at me and he said, Benjamin, when you think you're in too close, come in closer. And I never forgot that bit of advice. What I would suggest you do is cut her hair, go right into the hair. That's an Elle crop. Just so you know, you'll see in Elle shoots, they'll cut off arms, feet, which you'll see in my 80s glamour shoot, which I did. It was kind of, there you go. That is a cover shot.
I like that. I do like that much better.
It's just it's an Elle vibe, okay? It really depends on the support. But yeah, it's really in your face. It's great. I like it. I think the guy or girl, who is it? Who did it?
Phil. He goes by Content Aware Phil. He submits every week. But
Content Aware. Content's a nice name, Phil. Okay, good one, Content.
let's take a look at this shot. And again, I think this may not focus on a particular piece of clothing, but rather it's more like shot in the style of fashion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Good one, Tony. Okay. Again. Yeah, you're absolutely. For me personally, it is not a fashion shot. A fashion shot, a real true fashion image. I'm at the service of fashion, so I have to appreciate fashion, and to make it a fashion shot, I think the individual Vincent Tsai, it's Tsai. I think he's Vietnamese. Might have considered getting a stylist or going to a boutique and asking to borrow some clothing for this shoot, because I really like the framing. I think it's an interesting concept. And again, I think this could be coming. I mean, you can come in super close on this. I don't think you have to be shy about coming in closer. But all in all, look, it's like you said, Tony, would you repeat what you said? It's a kind of a fashion-ish type of shoot. But it really, I'd say it's more of a lifestyle shot. It could be an illustration in a magazine like Tatler or Glamour, or that's talking, maybe it's the opening full page image to an article.
Would you say this could be catalog?
No, no, I think it's illustrative. I think it could be the opening to a story in a magazine. Like when I shot Taj Jackson, the nephew of Michael Jackson, for GQ, there's just a few headshots. And the headshot was used as an opening to the interview. Blah. This could be the opening to an interview. It could be a catalog. Yeah, maybe if that's, yeah, okay. I mean, if that's the styling and that's the ready-to-wear designer they're shooting, yes, sure, why not? It could be a catalog, yes.
Okay, but
That
I
took
see
a
what
long
you
time
mean.
for me to get back. I finally got back to where
We got to it, but I totally get what you mean. I mean, fashion
I went
is,
full circle. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's okay. But it's a beautiful shot. But you're right. It doesn't say fashion
Yeah, I mean,
or
to
high
be honest,
fashion.
look, do you want me to dissect it as a fashion photographer? Look, the makeup, there's a lot of things that could have been done. I think because of the shape of her face, it's not doing her face justice. Her jaws are extremely wide. So what I would have done with the hairstylist is perhaps had it frame her face a little bit more. Perhaps I would have shot 3/4 for her face
Mhm.
to not, so you don't have that square jaw look as much. So I would turn her head maybe slightly to the right or the left. Yeah, I think it it needs a lot of stuff, and but for what it is, it's good. It's a good start.
So one thing about your world that we're not accustomed to, and I'm sure most of our viewers are not accustomed to, is that your models have to have a very specific look, and your casting is a big part of your job. The model that you choose is very important, right?
Oh my goodness, you just bingo. And I'd really like to just discuss what you've brought up just for a couple of moments, because that is so crucial. Look, guys, we're in a time frame right now where classic beauty, how can I put this without,
I
you
feel
have
like
to
it's a
have a
difficult
special
topic.
look.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have a special look about you. Um, some of the people I work with have a look that might be considered unconventional and somewhat shocking. It's and that shocking. Where right now, for example, if you went into magazines like Dazed and Confused or Numero, or one of the shoots I've just done, which I haven't yet posted, which is out, but I haven't had time to post. When you see the model, you'll go, "This girl's she has a look."
Yeah.
It's something you don't forget. But she is not a classic beauty. This girl is a classic beauty, but the girls who are really working today, and you know that, you just have to look at some of the magazines or go to models.com. You would be a little bit surprised by some of the girls that are raking in $50,000 to $100,000 a day.
But I love
And
that.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I love that because I feel like those are the models I see that have the gap in their tooth or the freckles
Yeah,
or
I love that.
an interesting feature or interesting hair. Like, I think that's what grabs people, right? If they turn the page and the model is beautiful, but also very interesting looking.
Okay, stopping power, and she does not have to be beautiful. And by some standards, not in the fashion industry, we would say she's beautiful. But unfortunately, by some standards, and I have to say this, you would not look twice at her. You would think she is quite homely looking. And some of the models who do show up before the makeup or no makeup is put on, you would have, look at my Greenland story, for example. Well, anyways, we can show that to you later, but you'll understand. Okay.
Okay.
So by stopping power, somebody stops flipping through the pages of the magazine. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah, you need stopping power. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Here's a shot that I think, disappeared, that actually highlights something. Like in this, I would assume they're trying to show the bag. So how does this work as far as showing off this bag?
Okay. Can you back up and let me see the whole picture, please?
Sorry.
Well, I think for me, this is, could be one of two things. This could be in a conservative, high-end men's magazine. I say conservative because it could be a magazine like Esquire, and it could be an editorial, absolutely, or it could be an ad campaign for an ensemble. It could be either the bag. So if it were the bag, the challenge for the company would be, well, who are going to provide the other clothing, because it's a conflict of interest.
Right.
So in most cases, the bag, which may be featured, you would cross your fingers and hope that the same designer also has a clothing line. So it's just like, Longchamp, which I'm sure you know, the Longchamp bags, Longchamp, as they pronounce it in America. They've just started a clothing line. So now they're showing clothing and bags. So yes, this is this is a strong, not strong, but it's a credible fashion shot. And yes, I would say the feature should be the bag. Yes, and the jacket, perhaps.
I can definitely point out some technical issues. Like it seems like the bag is just dirty.
I think it's just wet.
Yeah, like it's
Well, that's okay too. You know something. Um, you know, that's a style thing. You know, I I don't like it to be clean. It depends what mood I'm in. I mean,
okay.
my last haute couture shoot, I had the girl sitting on a pile of garbage, and in a 55,000 euro dress by Valentino or Versace or Victor and Rolf, and I kid you not, for the November issue of another magazine, which I won't mention, but I like to. If you have too much cream and too much chocolate, and more cream and more chocolate, it's like sticking somebody in a dress in a 5-star palace hotel with golden ornate, chandeliers. It's just too much.
It's expected too, right? There's
Yes.
something more interesting about the juxtaposition of a beautiful gown and a trash pile.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Exactly.
So I wanted to just introduce Sam here. Sam is going to be
Hi,
taking all of your questions and comments. So if you have a question for Benjamin or for us, you can just,
I'm here. Ask away.
yeah, you can just put it
Hey,
in the
Sam.
comments and she will relay that to us.
There-
Again, we're reviewing your fashion photography with fashion photographer Benjamin Kanarek. Sorry, Benjamin. So you can submit your photos and comment. Sam, do you have any questions or comments for us?
Yeah, we do.
Surprisingly.
We
We have one. We have one from Nairobi.
We have a few. Jim Setzer is a longtime viewer of the show, and he has a question for you. He says, how important is color science to your work? Do you work with Pantone color charts to ensure product color accuracy?
Absolutely not. Never. It's a lot. Oh, that was Tony. Tony. I would love to invite you to one of my shoots. You'd be so disappointed.
No,
You'd
I would absolutely love it.
You would
We don't
probably
do
go, what a hack. I can't believe it.
I do not give a crap about color accuracy, but it's the number one thing people always bring up, and we never deal with that stuff.
Well, when we print our books, but that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me be more specific. Look. Oh my God. Okay. And I'm really trying. Look, if I were working for a German catalog,
Uh-huh.
or maybe, I don't know, a lookbook where the color accuracy, where they're so anal that the color accuracy has to be so perfect, I wouldn't do the job. There you go. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I would say no. So I think when you're doing an editorial, Tony and Chelsea and Samantha, we're manipulating so much of the image.
Yeah.
So color science is important to me. I'm using a couple of systems that I'm quite pleased with, and it's giving me what I want. So no, I don't think color science is important to what I do. There you
Okay. Let's take another one, Sam. Do you have another question for us?
Yes, I do. This is an interesting question from Max Carruthers. Hi, Ben. I was wondering, what do you think very young photographers should do to take better photos? P.S. By young, I mean 12 to 15 years old.
Oh, that's great. Oh boy. Okay. Oh my God. I think, oh my God. No, I am. I'm saying, oh my God, for a reason. Photography has become democratized. And I think everyone expresses themselves using a tool, and whether they're using their phone or a camera or whatever. I don't think today it is so much a question of technique. I think it's more a question of soul. And I'm fine. There's a whole new movement of photographers from the ages of 12 to 24 or 25 that I'm so gobstruck by and so impressed by. It's raw, it's honest, it's unabashedly non-technical, and they're using their tool as an extension of their id, and they're just okay. So I know I'm digressing. what I really think you need to do is, if you're serious about fashion photography, and Tony has always said this, and so has Chelsea, whatever tool works for you, works for you. And that's really what you feel comfortable with is what's important. So all that aside, what you need to do is build a vocabulary. And with a vocabulary, the larger your vocabulary, the greater your art of discernment. So what I recommend to any new photographer is to swallow and digest as much imagery and the feel of that imagery wherever you can. And those resources, and there's only one ipso facto resource in the world that, of course, you can buy Vogue and you can buy Harper's Bazaar and Numero and Elle and Marie Claire and whatever, or Grazia, whatever magazine you want to buy, but that's costly. So if you want to see a lot of great imagery, the one ipso facto site is called models.com. And models.com is, and it's kind of a catch-22. You can't be in models.com until you're published at least 5 times.
Okay.
But anyways, I'm in models.com. So, my point is these people can observe the photographers and stylists and models who are in the top tier in our métier and really see what's going on. They can see this month's Grazia, this month's Elle, this month's Harper's Bazaar, and they just need to swallow the information. And the more information that you assimilate, the greater your sense of discernment, and you'll be able to make a credible statement that I would look at and say, hey, this guy's somebody I should worry about. So it comes down to acquiring a taste for. And if you don't have the passion for it, and also, if you don't know which questions to ask because you don't have the art of discernment, because you just don't know, then you're going to be lost.
So that's some good general advice too. I mean, you're specifically talking about fashion, but we always tell people, if you want to do street, if you want to do food photography, any kind of photography you want to do, study other people's work. Because a lot of people try to stay very selfish and very much in their own bubble, and you have to learn from what other people have done, right?
Yes. Oh, unequivocally. And not only learn, I mean, be inspired by.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the inspiration, because I remember the first photographer I saw, a Chicago-based guy, that it changed my life. And no one's heard of him. His name was Victor Skrebneski. And he had a lighting technique, and no, not a technique. He had an approach that was very novel at the time. And he would have a highlight up at almost 90 degrees above the model's head. This was his style for a while. I mean, he shot for Vogue, and his name is Victor Skrebneski. And, you can imagine the harsh light and the shadows under the eyes. You wouldn't need any eyeshadow and that was his style. And I was just blown away by this guy. And he had an effect on me. So I was inspired by him, by Richard Avedon, by Irving Penn, and
Avedon, of course. So that inspiration is super important. I think that's a really good point. Do you mind if we look at another picture? Because this one is from one of my friends.
I'm so sorry. Yes, of course.
My friend Manny Ortiz submitted a picture. I don't think he's done that before. So.
Well, thank you, Manny.
Let's see. Let's zoom all the way out so that Ben can see. Do you mind me calling you Ben, Benjamin?
Please call me Ben. Call me Benji, call me
Benny Boo.
Yeah,
no,
Benny Boo.
Too far.
Big Ben.
I like the contrast here. The background is very blown out, so it doesn't distract too much. But she's got a dark dress. There's a nice silhouette there, and it's separated. And then it's this kind of like candid, casual thing, almost like she just happened to be walking under a bridge in this outfit, and you just happened to pop up on her, and this is what it looked like. There's this light shining through the top too, which I think is pretty cool.
Yep, I agree with you completely. Yeah, I think it's a great photo, Manny. Congratulations. It works.
I would take out this chromatic aberration, Manny. My friend Manny.
Do you care about that, Benjamin? Would you go in and fix chromatic aberration?
Yeah, that I do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the get-go, of course. Unless like one of our shoots I won't mention, we screwed up and we forgot. And you can actually see it in the images. Oh, it was really embarrassing. Anyways, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to show Manny here. Remove chromatic aberration. I'm really Manny must be there like, dang it, Chelsea. How could you do this? It did it a little bit.
Yeah,
You really know your stuff, Chels.
You can go in here with this brush too. There's this.
You guys are good. You guys should be doing my retouching. You guys want to do my color science? I'll give you credit. Next shoot. There you go.
Oh yeah, we got it.
There we go.
Good for you. Bravo. You guys are quick. Holy gee.
Oh yeah, we're doing this every show, so we know the common stuff to go through like that. So
no, but you're really good. Bravo.
So would this be considered fashion, or is this more like glamour? Or it's a beautiful shot. It's
a beautiful shot. Yeah, it's fashion. It depends for which. You understand what I mean when I say which support, or shall I be more?
Yeah, be more specific. I don't know much about fashion.
Means, of course, what support means, which audience, and which magazines. The magazines that lend themselves to a specific audience. So, this could be Cosmo, but this could be more for me. This is more celebrity Cosmo. This is like him shooting a celebrity. Mm-hmm. Or Cosmo. That's how I see it.
I can see that.
Look at his casting choices, whatever he chooses and what makes him feel good about the casting. That's totally subjective. And so I'm not here to critique casting because that's really a very personal matter. But for all intent and purpose, I agree totally with you guys. I like the composition. My biggest concern is, whenever I give people advice, I say one image is not a fashion story. It's not a fashion story.
Okay.
So here's a bit of advice for everybody. If you want to start building up your portfolio, all right, first things first, of course, you're not all going to have access. You're not living in New York, London, Paris, or Milan. So you're not going to have access directly to the collection. So what? So, you find a stylist who can pull clothing for a specific shoot. But what you need to do is define a theme and come up with anything like white. The theme is white, for example. And okay, it's a white story. But you cannot come up with a theme ever until you know which collections are available. Because if there are no white clothing being shown for that season, forget about it. So the least you should do is go to Vogue.com. It used to be called Style. Vogue bought Style, so it used to be Style.com. So it's Vogue.com. You can click on collections. You can see the New York. That's what all our stylists do. We can talk about that another time. They choose their looks, but they don't just choose their looks for no reason. There has to be a story.
Like your cool wool story.
Go ahead. Sorry, pardon?
Like your cool wool story where you took pictures of a bunch of different wool clothing.
Okay. So cool. Yeah. Cool wool is wool. It's wool. That's all it is. So how I shot the wool, we can talk about why I did what I did, blah, 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 blah. So look, let's just say this. Even if it's a simple, dumb theme, even if it's in a studio with white seamless, there should at least be a common thread running through the whole story. It doesn't have to, even if it's not white. Let's say, okay, for example, this shoot you're looking at, the cool wool story, throughout the whole story, our stylist, Julian Mazzoli, only used one pair of shoes for the whole story. It was Les Boutons. It was always the same silver boots. Okay. That was our common thread. So every time you turned the page, the clothing would be different. The Christian Le Bouton boots would be the same, but everything would be different. So that was the thread, the common thread. So let me finish very quickly. So to do a credible fashion story, guys, think of it as a magazine. Here I'm an art director. You're coming to show me your work, and you're showing me singular images. And I'm going, well, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do. So what I suggest to anyone who's seriously interested in perhaps getting into fashion, which includes beauty, just remember this. As an art director, I want to see a story. So I want to see between 6 and 10, 12-page story, which runs from the opener to the end with some common thread running through it, whatever the theme you want to come with. A day at the laundromat. Maybe there's a girl sitting in a laundromat and she's watching models walk in to the laundromat doing their clothing, but each time they walk in, they're wearing a different dress or a different pair of jeans or blah, 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 blah. It's fashion. We're only talking about fashion. If you want to do a beauty story, the classic beauty stories never run more than 6 pages. So between 4 and 6 pages, you can do a beauty story or a jewelry story. I did, for example, a beauty story for Harper's BAZAAR. It was a mix of jewelry and makeup. So generally, they only allocate 4 to 6 pages to beauty. And that's usually in the beauty section of the magazine because they can support their advertisers. And we can talk about that and why they. And so, do you see my point, or shall I continue my diatribe?
No, I see what you mean. I know. I think that you've been clear about that.
Okay.
Chelsea, which picture would you like to look at next?
Oh, let's see here.
Chelsea's worried.
No, I'm not worried. We just like to go through and pick one that catches our eye. That's all.
I like this. We talked about that.
And we did talk about. I liked this one too, so I wanted to talk about it and see what you liked about it.
I didn't notice the parrot.
For me, everything about it is perfect. I'll tell you what.
You're good at pick.
I love the movement of the body, even though it's static. I love the way I love the background and the foreground. I love the fact that the clothing and the background are intertwined. I love the way he's almost meshing into the image. He almost becomes. It just works well together. It's. Can you back it up for me, Tony? I just want to see one thing. There are less is more. I mean, it's hard for people to understand that. Less is more. And, there are some artifacts. It all works. It's the art director, perhaps, who decided to put the bird in the image. I don't think it was necessary. But then again, it's personal. It's a choice. I'm not going to even discuss that. That's a subjective matter. But all in all, it's a great photo. It's professional. It's a valid, professional looking advertising campaign.
So here's a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that this would have been a fashion looking photo if he had, say, put his hands by his side and was upright and just smiling? Just a plain.
No. Okay. This is where we get really subjective.
Right, because I feel like it's his pose that's interesting.
That's right. Exactly. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. Of course. It's the mood. It's the vibe.
The mood.
It's the mood.
It's the
and
vibe.
the mood is so exactly.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the fact that he had the BALLS to chop his fingers off. I love that.
Uh-huh.
I love the tight crop. I like the fact that it's in your face. It's not afraid to be in your face, and that's a fashion statement. So this person, Cedar Sahin, congratulations! You get a star of approval from Benji.
All right, 5 stars.
So I want to bring up another thing. The bokeh, blurring the background.
Okay, here goes.
I feel like in the fashion photography I've been looking at recently, that trend is going away.
You're so astute.
So we're seeing.
You are so astute, aren't you?
Thank you. You're making me feel really special.
No, but I'm serious. You're so astute. Okay, look, Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know what fashion is. Just look in the dictionary of the definition of fashion. It's always in flux. It's dynamic. It's always changing. People will break rules. It's an extension of our social mores. It's a mirroring of society. So if everyone's doing something, if everyone's doing one thing, you're going to want to do something else. The only difference between myself and other people, or many other people, is at least I can set trends, because when I do get published, I'm being seen by a lot of people. So it sets a trend. And, it really depends on your own comportment, Chelsea. If you're getting sick of seeing the same thing, you'll do something to just shake things up. To, for example, if all the images in an editorial in a magazine are all the same orientation, you flip one image upside down and stick it in the bottom corner of the image and leave total negative space in the corner with no reason for it to exist. That's going to make you think about it. So my last shoot, I shot 24 millimeter. Everything was in focus. You know why? Just because. Because
you do what you want.
Sorry, say again?
You do what you want.
I do what I want. And, I have carte blanche when I shoot editorial. And because the magazine believes in me, obviously, that's why they're working with me. But if I screw up, I'll hear about it. I mean, I'll get some. Anyways. So, yeah, you're right. It even though I love shooting 300 2.8, which I did for the one with Alexis in the video you watched. And the last shoot, Cool Wool, was only shot with one lens. Any guesses, kids? Which lens I shot? The Cool Wool one.
For the Cool Wool.
That one on the right.
Oh, that's a little more telephoto. Is that?
It's a lot telephoto, yeah.
200?
You're so close. You're so smart. It's the 1.8. It's the good old 180 millimeter Nikkor 2.8 lens, which it is just brutally sharp. Yeah, 180 at 2.8.
Nice.
But that was because I wanted that look. But then again, but you're right. The more raw young shooters are shooting super wide. So for my next shoot that I'm doing for Chanel, it's going to be show everything.
Everything, big depth of field.
No, yeah, big depth of field. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. And we'll have lots of depth of field with a 24 regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So
which camera body are you putting on those lenses?
He's a Fuji man.
So let me see Tony's face.
He's a Fuji.
I know people want to know. I'm sure you probably pick different cameras for different things.
May I click on you now and not look at the picture? Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he's turning red.
Okay. He doesn't look red in person.
Which that's okay. I'll answer. You understand it's not important to me, but I'll answer. I use two systems, Tony.
Yeah.
I have 4 Nikon D800 series bodies. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I have 4 Fujifilm X bodies. And I have, you look like you're in shock, Tony.
No, those are the exact cameras we use.
Yeah, I love both those systems. Yeah.
We just got the XT3 and my daily shooter's the D850. So, and we use Sony as well.
Okay. No, I think, look at, how do I get back to the pictures? Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm back. Okay. Yeah, it depends on the tool. Look, very quickly, this is going to sound really ridiculous. I can pick up either the Fuji system or the Nikon system. I know my support is no more than 20 by 30 centimeters or 8 by 10 or I don't know, the biggest magazine I work for, the largest format is called Style Magazine. And that's quite large. It's like, it's larger, but I can shoot with, Tony.
Megapixels have never been a problem for you, it sounds like. Yeah. So you don't have to pull out the big medium format cameras or anything.
Tony,
full frame.
I had a poster of mine published at the Cannes Film Festival on the boardwalk. That was, I kid you not, it was 15 by 12 feet. And I shot it with an 8 megapixel Canon 20D or something.
Yeah.
And because the viewing distance is so far. I mean, you can't come right up front. So yeah, it was fine. Anyways.
They do that with the iPhones too, though. They make a billboard with an iPhone picture, but everyone's viewing them from 100 feet away. So it's like, of course, it's not going to matter.
Well, look, Nick Knight, one of the top fashion photographers in the world, Nick Knight, you can type his name in. He just shot for British Vogue. He did a whole that's really funny when you see the production. It was huge. We're talking a massive production. There must have been a team of 40 people. And on his gimbal was an iPhone 7 Plus. And
not even the latest one.
He did. I kid you not. I swear, Tony. He did the whole Burberry shoot You just have to go type in Nick Knight, Knight. The guy is absolutely brilliant. He's one of my favorite photographers ever. And he did the whole shoot with an iPhone. So it really, anyways, you know.
I know.
I don't have to.
I know what you're saying. Let's look at this picture.
Yes, I will shut up. Okay.
I like this one. It's nice and wide. It's at 35 millimeters. So we do have that almost iPhone look. It's got a very nice, kind of natural looking, sorry,
What happened?
my scroll wheel sometimes just flips out for no good reason.
You're just excited. That's all.
It's got this nice natural vignetting that I like. You barely see
me
it, but
too.
it still
Love it. I love the vignetting.
draws you into the subject. And she's got this like very casual attitude. It's
Yep.
very weird that she would be going swimming in a leather jacket, but
I do that.
I'm a very practical person.
Now, hold on. Tony, go back to that picture.
Yeah.
It might be cold on the beach.
Yeah, we have actually done this where we take a model to the beach and it's very cold outside because it's Connecticut.
I don't actually think that's a swimsuit, Tony.
No, I don't. I don't think it is.
It's
Oh man, why does it keep jumping around?
It's I don't know what to call it, Benjamin. It's almost like a onesie for adult women, but you're supposed to wear pants or a skirt over it.
Oh, okay.
It's a thing. No, it's not a romper. It's not. I'm trying to explain it for the men, but these are in style now, and it just keeps everything very tucked in and neat while you're wearing pants or a
The
skirt.
bodysuit. Girls know.
There you
You
go.
know.
It's a bodysuit.
Okay.
I
It's
was
a-
going to say something else, but bodysuit works. Yeah. I like her tattoo. It's nice.
Oh, I thought that was a bobby pin stuck on there.
No, it's a tattoo.
Okay.
I love her pose. I think the lighting is great. Her eyes are dark. It looks like they had a little bit of fill flash going, or maybe that's just a reflection off of something bright.
Yeah, it could be a reflector. Yeah.
It looks added
Very
in.
nice.
Okay. Any other feedback, Benjamin?
No, I think it works. It's a nice image. I would like to see some of Icy's other outtakes because I would like to see what the wind was doing to the hair.
Mhm.
You know, those accidentals are radical. You know how important editing is, Tony and Chelsea and Samantha.
We know.
You could have 100 images and there could be one person who chooses an image that is a dog and somebody else picks an image. Editing is so important. It depends what mood you're in. I never edit until the day after the shoot. But anyways, maybe I would like to see some more outtakes. I'm not crazy about what the hair is doing. But that's my opinion, of course. And
Yes.
I would have liked her hair flying out a little bit more, but perhaps it didn't happen. But other than that, I like it.
I will also say to our viewers, that is a common theme. Our guests always say they wait a specific amount of time until they'll edit or cull through their photos because they want to get that distance. So that's a tip you should pull away.
And it depends on what mood you're in. I mean, Chelsea, if you have a bad toothache and you're doing your editing, it might have an effect on your decision of which image you want to use.
That's true.
Anyways.
Never cull photos while cranky.
Well, I'll
right.
import some live photos.
I
Sam,
wanted
maybe you
to
have
see-
a question. Oh, you had another one you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to see this one with the truck.
Okay.
Oh, they added some grain. I think they added it.
That's fine. That's okay. It's all right.
It's a
The Russian.
yes.
Or Russian or Ukrainian. I can't.
Is this BG? Is that Bulgaria?
Oh yeah, you're right. It might be Bulgaria. Yes, could be.
Good eye, Chels.
It could be.
Nice one, Chelsea.
Sometimes we go way too deep into the photos.
I go
and
too deep.
get a little distracted.
All right, let's zoom out so we can see the whole image. I like the color contrast, the red against the
Yeah.
blue sky, the red
Me too.
boots. I like this photo a lot, but
Me too.
you're the fashion photographer.
No, Chelsea. Chelsea, do you like it?
I love it.
There you go. They see it really. You know what I mean? I have no critique of this image because it has reasonably good styling. I might have had her leaning against perhaps the truck, but why not? Why not do this? Why not? It works, and there's definitely an audience for this, and maybe I would have shown a bit more of the fashion, but you don't have to show that much because it's not a catalog. So no, it works. I love it. I agree. It works.
They did it. Sam, do you have any questions
I
comments?
sure do. Yes, I do.
I swear I paid last week. I swear, Samantha. I sent the check.
This is a personal question for you,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Gary Terzian would like to know, Ben, has your personal fashion changed at all during your exposure to all this fashion, this cutting edge fashion that you're surrounded by all the time?
Oh, yes.
Are you
Yes.
influenced?
Yes. I'm always evolving. I'm always watching other photographers. I've sometimes actually plagiarized other photographers. I've copied other people's work. I've been guilty of that. I've been influenced by, or I'll just try to get all the garbage out of my head and do something from, like, turn the page. Absolutely. There's so much great work out today, as you know. That, I mean, the democratization of photography has become, it's opened the door to anybody. And yes, I see a lot of, I teach on occasion at the Paris College of Art, which has a photography division. I was a judge on their master's degree program, and I was gobstruck and amazed by the sheer brilliance of what's being produced by this whole new generation, this whole new wave of fashion shooters. And I learned probably more from them than they did from me. So yes.
It's nice to see what
Right.
young people are doing. Did they mean his personal fashion, Sam?
Yeah, they did want to. Yes,
I think they mean what you're wearing, Ben. Do you
yeah.
dress really
If your outfit was,
Oh, I see. Oh, really? No, I gotta tell you, I wear a black
but I like
t-shirt.
that answer too.
I'm sorry, I went into another major diatribe. No, I just wear a black t-shirt, a pair of blue jeans, and some Nike sneakers to all of my shoots, and maybe a scarf. No, I am not a. No, I'm the poorest excuse for. So no, I don't.
I think
Maybe I should.
the more you know about fashion, though, the more impossible it seems. Like, dang, there's so
Yeah.
much to keep up on.
It seems wise just to keep it simple unless you can take it all the way.
Yeah, it's my one suit. It's like Karl Lagerfeld. He has one suit. It's the one suit, you know. I like the way you guys dress.
Thank
Actually.
you.
Oh, by
Thanks.
the way,
You
I
can shoot me anytime.
really loved some of your images that you did in Norway. I was blown away by both of your work. You guys
Oh,
are
thank you.
getting scary good. I'm not paying you lip service.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we
You
keep
guys
working
have
on it. We're all somewhere in the middle, right? Like none of us are the best photographer in the world, but you try not to be the worst and you just try to get a little bit better every day. Let's take a
Well,
look at a few more pictures. What do you say?
okay, so you want to look at this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's look at this.
Male mannequin.
Male mannequin 1.jpg.
Okay.
There are things I like about it.
Yeah, I like
Things
that it
that
feels
are-
so casual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice. It's very difficult, you know, Tony and Chelsea and Samantha. The most difficult challenge in fashion, for me personally, is when you get more than one individual in the shot. I
Yeah.
find it much more challenging to make it look credible and honest, and make it look like they're really doing something. That's a challenge. So I guess you have to ask yourself, what is it? What direction you're trying to go in? Do you want to pose excessively where it's almost a parody of a pose, which is something you could do, where you want to do an 80s thing, which is totally a parody, or you want to make it supernatural. My tendency and my leaning today, I have to only speak for myself, is I'm trying to be more reportage in how I allow models to be. I don't pose models. I just try to let them be and let them do whatever they want to do and how they feel about. And sometimes you get some really cool little accidents, some very cute things, some very odd things. So I think I like this, but I think the posing's a little bit too evident for me. And, you know,
Okay.
other than that, I think it's a nice image. I'm sorry if I didn't mean to hurt your feeling. I hope
I think I get what you mean. Like their hands are kind of very carefully positioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do get an album cover feel from this that I like a lot.
Yes. Yes. Actually, Palmer. What's his name? Robert Palmer.
Yes. If we put it
Robert
one,
Palmer album. Yeah, it is. That's a Robert Palmer album. But you need a lot more blush, tons of blush, and real red lips, and you've got a Robert Palmer. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. That is an album. Good one.
Oh man, what if Benjamin starts another big fashioned trend,
And it's Robert Palmer.
and it's all going back to
And then
Addicted to Love.
we have a feud because I
What a
thought
great
of
album.
it.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead. Say again.
Oh, I said nonsense. It's fine. Okay, this one's interesting because this lady is all in wool and also holding a lamb.
Yeah,
Has it been done?
nice theme. It works. It's I'd like to see the other images they have in the series.
Is it too soft, like a romance novel, or do you suppose that would work as a style?
I
Well,
think they just missed the focus.
well, with all the heat that David Hamilton took, it's kind of dangerous to be using that soft. Well, it's a choice. I mean, it's again, it's a stylistic choice. I can't be too critical of that because it's a choice. I mean, if Trevor wanted to do that and that was his intention, then yeah, it's okay. What's important is it is a fashion shot. I think the choice of the mittens and it works. I could see this as part of like an 8-page fashion story on the farm, but I'd like to see her working, like really working with the sheep, feeding the sheep,
Shearing them.
feeling them or feeding the cows,
Yeah.
or, throwing seeds to the chickens. A real story. Anyways,
That's how you get a model, but also get your yard work done.
exactly.
And I like
There you go.
that's a message I can get behind.
I feel like I could see this picture. If you travel around and you're in Ireland or someplace where they sell wool a lot, you go into just
Absolutely.
wool shops and you'd see a big wall-sized print of that.
Exactly.
Some
That
of
could be-
these. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Benjamin.
No, yeah, I agree with Tony. That could be um, a wool campaign for a specific brand. Absolutely.
Some of these aren't fashion at all, so I'm struggling.
Oh, let me see. Go up to the one with the there. Let me see that. Yeah, with the stripes.
Oh, stripes.
Oh, that's kind of nice. Let me see that for a second.
Yeah.
That almost works. That's a fashion statement. There were two. I think there was one next to it.
Oops.
No, I prefer the other one.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that does not work. Oh no, that did not work. This is fine. It's an interesting statement. It shows the fashion well.
Interesting lines.
Because we're showing fashion here. I would have loved not having the building in the background. I think it would have been maybe, but then again,
That's fine. That's what you do. I saw one here. This one's interesting.
Yep.
I like this one. I like the colors and the tones.
I agree. It's a really nice image. I like the crop. I like the fact that he's walking off the page or out of the page.
It's very awkward, but it feels right to me. I don't know how to explain it.
No, it's good. I agree. I just would have perhaps shot it vertically, but then again, that's. Oh, here she goes.
Yeah, it totally
That's
depends
Tony.
on how you're going to publish it, right?
Exactly. If it's a double-paged opener, exactly, Tony.
Let's see what catches our eye here that looks kind of like fashion.
Oh. Whoa.
Okay. My first thought was kind of 80s.
I thought Robert Palmer again. That's why I clicked on it.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
Ben would like it.
Totally, Robert Palmer. That's
So this is one of these things, and I see this a lot in photographers that submit to us. I think that technically they did a good job. Everything's in focus. The lighting is well balanced, but the styling of the shoot does not feel right to me.
absolutely.
Like-
Go ahead, Chelsea. Continue.
I was gonna say that there's like a disconnect. Something's not right. The mood is not matching. You know, you want your processing to match the mood. You want the model's face to match the mood, the clothes to match the mood, and everything feels disjointed.
Okay, just to help everybody out here, I had this discussion with Chelsea before we came on. Or actually, I had this discussion a while ago. I don't want to come across, and I really I don't want to come across bombastic or belligerent but there's a code in fashion, and unfortunately or fortunately, we just know if something is polished or even we just know. Okay, you hit the nail on the head, Chelsea. We are at the service of fashion. Just remember that we are servicing the fashion industry, and it's about fashion. When I say fashion, I mean in every respect. It could be cosmetics. Well, what do you do when you shoot cosmetics? You're going to come in super close. I think the styling is just not really working here for many reasons. I don't think this model really lends herself to super tight pants. I think the casting needs to be worked on. There are a lot of elements here that to make it work. And you're right. You started your discourse by saying everything about it is technically good, which I agree with. Because I'm not here to really critique people's technique, because that's not important. But what is important, if you really want to do fashion, then do fashion and know fashion, and at least start to understand what fashion means. You're shooting fashion. You're not shooting a model test. You're not testing the model where she brings her own clothing and her makeup. And no, if you really are serious about fashion, do your best in whichever large city you're in to get hair, makeup, at least a stylist. Yeah, a stylist who can put the story together.
You made a good point. And can I just highlight your point is that if you want to shoot fashion, you have to know fashion. It'd be like if someone was a car photographer and then they just went and took pictures of all of the wheels, or they didn't know which car they were photographing. Like, you have to know what you're shooting for it to make sense. Otherwise, it's just going to seem wrong. So
Bingo.
You have to study it. And if you're not interested in studying fashion, then don't shoot it. It just doesn't make sense.
I love fashion, Chelsea. I just love fashion. When I used to shoot a lot for L'Officiel, Marie-Josée Amer Jaloux, the owner, the editor-in-chief, when she had a really crappy designer, I won't mention the name, but she used to say, I kid you not, give it to Benjamin, he'll make it look good. I mean, you really need to you need to know how to frame and make the fashion look good, even if it sucks. I won't mention the name of the major designer because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot.
Yep.
But you will see the images and you will not know. There's a major designer I shot for the magazine that is coming out for a November issue. And we had a lot of difficulty making that dress look good. So what we did was we made it look good, because we had her literally bunch up the dress, have her sit on a bicycle, and just make it look honest and natural. So if you are going to shoot fashion, you have to look at the fashion, and you have to choose fashion that will highlight who you are as a photographer, because your choices or your choice of stylist that you've approved to make the choices for you is very telling about your knowledge and your art of discernment and how much I know this is rather complex, but you really, like Chelsea said, you need to know fashion.
Yeah. And another point that you hit that I would just like to highlight is that I see a lot of photographers and they're taking pictures of women that they think are hot. And it comes across. It looks real weird when it's supposed to be a fashion shoot, and there's that extra energy there, and I think people can sense it. And like you were talking about earlier,
like 92 Maxim.
Yeah, it looks like Maxim. It's weird. You were talking earlier about how much of the time your models are awkward, and would you call them, like the stop effect or something.
Yeah, stopping power.
Stopping power. They're a little awkward. They're different. They're not that blonde hair, blue eyed girl next door that everybody's like, yeah, she's so super cute and pretty.
Chelsea, it
Yeah.
might come back again because that look you're talking about could come back.
It could.
The Elle Macpherson, that, and like I shot Andy McDowell for the Target Christmas book in New York. I mean, that whole beautiful, fresh, healthy thing that might come back, because I'm personally getting sick and tired of the androgynous, anorexic thing that's happening. To be honest, okay, that everybody,
So what I'm saying to that point, though, is maybe you're getting someone, not you, but maybe another photographer that wants their model to stand out, get someone that's a different shape or a different race or a different look.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But if you really want to have an effect on the trend, you have to be in a position to be seen on a very large scale to change things. So, I know if I'm published in a specific magazine, it's going to be seen, and that's going to influence or perhaps have a modicum of an effect on the fashion trend, and perhaps have a positive effect on, because I really, I'd love to see beautiful women come back into fashion. But anyway.
Could you make gray-haired 40-year-old men come in fashion?
I think. Are you talking about your husband?
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think
that he
Tony.
could.
I think Tony's super photogenic.
I think so too. He's cute.
If I were gay, I'd be into him, but I'm not. So
You can be into him.
Tony blushing. Let me get a close up of Tony's face. Let me see.
Yeah, now I'm officially blushing.
He looks like a tomato, right?
Yeah. I think you should do a whole wool series with Tony. We'll make the gray hair.
Chelsea, you're no slut.
They're both very
Chelsea,
photogenic.
Chelsea,
Very photogenic.
Chelsea, you're super pretty. You know that. So. No, you are. You're very beautiful. So.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a look.
Oh, in fact,
Puerto Rican.
the other day, by the way, we were. Oh, this is really interesting.
Oh.
There's a girl we shot with, which you'll see once it comes out, and Frederick, my wife, and I were looking at it, and she said she looks a bit like Chelsea. I kid you not, and she's pretty much in the top 100. But yeah, you've got a nice face. Anyways.
Thank you. If you could make big lips had to come into fashion. So I was teased for these early on. If you could make the big nose in fashion, I'd be killing it.
Well, Carol Alt, the big lips look was really super happening for a long time.
Yeah.
And your nose isn't bad. It's really not. I think you carry yourself very well.
Thank you.
I've been watching you recently. I can see you're doing your makeup really well. You're using less.
Getting personal.
And you're making some good choices. I was observing you the other day and thinking to myself, she's if you don't mind my saying, you seem to be becoming more and more aware. And I don't know if that's being too presumptuous, but I guess it is. But
No, I think you're right. I did not expect this discussion to go in this direction, but
Why not?
I have acknowledged that I've been meeting more people, and I never think that people actually watch my videos. And now that I'm meeting more people, I'm realizing I should probably do my hair.
I love your hair the way it is right now. It looks amazing. I wouldn't cut it.
Thank you.
I love your hair the way it is. I like the way it's framing your face.
Thank you.
Really. And I will send you some images of girls whose noses. Wait. Did you see my pink pride story? You must. Yeah, it's called Pink Pride.
Maybe I've seen a lot of your.
Yeah, I know you did. Right? You look at the girl's nose and you go, "Hey, look at
You're gonna be like, "Oh, I am happening."
That's right.
That's who's gonna be in vogue.
There you go.
Sam, do you have any last questions before we go? I can't believe it's been an hour already.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. All right, so I'm going to quickly run through 3 comments that I know will just make your day, Ben, and then I'm going to go right into a question. So, okay. So Khalid Aziz said, oh shoot, sorry, I was wrong spot. Andreas M. Ben is top, best show ever. I hope he comes again and again and again.
He's great.
Johan Borhead, Ben is the greatest guest ever, hands down, even though we didn't see him. Michael Bryant, I love Ben's energy. Okay, question.
Okay, no, guys, the truth is, let's be honest. Let's be totally transparent. I paid those guys to make this.
I thought you might have.
We coached him.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a good question. Khalid Aziz says, how do you keep up with photography trends? Do you yourself adapt? Do you just keep your style and wait for things to come back to you again?
Oh, I love that question. Okay, so we're talking about style now, right? We're talking about style.
Like
photography. We're not talking about gear. Okay.
Well, yeah, no, not gear, not gear.
Okay, let me talk. Okay, guys, can we go on a little bit, because let me give you a perfect kiss of death. There's a great photographer, Hans Führer. I mean, we're talking Vogue Paris, Vogue Paris, and Vogue Paris, and Vogue Paris, and Vogue Paris, and Vogue Paris. Okay. He had one style. That's it. And that was 300-8. That was his trademark. And then people started copying him. I copied him. Gilles Bensimon copied him, who became the creative director for LUS, blah, blah, blah. The problem is, when it went out of style, sorry, Hans, if you're listening, let's be honest, you know what happened. I love you, Hans, but he was hurting for a long time, because he made his life off of a style, off of a specific lens. Imagine, off of a lens. There was another photographer, I won't mention his name because you may remember the DIM campaign. You've heard of the brand DIM, D-I-M, yes?
Oh, actually, yeah, I've heard of DIM, yeah.
Yeah, DIM is like, like pantyhose, blah, blah. His claim to fame was the 500 millimeter catadioptric mirror lens. And, he got a shitload of ad campaigns with that lens. But once that went out of fashion, he was dead in the water.
So you're telling me you have to adapt.
Exactly. You have to adapt. And you have to be true to yourself. As long as you're expressing who you are, when you press that shutter, oh my God, I'm way over there. I'm getting all neurotic because I'm looking at the clock and realizing we're 7 minutes over. Here's what I'm going to say. Don't be afraid to use whatever you have and make it work. You can make it work with a 24, you can make it work with a 300, but as long as you're consistent. Here's the important thing. If you can only know if you're consistent after a series of time. I say series of time because I always look at life. For me as a photographer, it's terrible. I'm always waiting for the collections. I'm all neurotic. Collections are finished. Then we start shooting. And then I have to wait for the next collections to shoot again. But when I say series, a series of works. Okay. So, guys, you're not going to believe what happened because I said Siri. My Siri just came on. And so it's literally saying everything I'm saying right now. It's just crazy. So, anyways, in response to your question, you got to be careful. You've got to be careful, but you also can't become too pedestrian and boring and corporate. You have to be who you are. So my biggest advice to people is don't be afraid. When I say don't be afraid, I mean take risks. You're going to listen. I'm going to say one last thing. Oh, shut up, Siri. Okay. Oh, you heard that.
She's getting in on this. Whoa.
Okay, so just let me say this one thing. I think it's very important for everybody. And I can't stress this any more than look. You, regardless of your photo technique, I love when I always hear people say, oh, I just need to do another 3 or 4 shoots and I'll be better. Or I just need to do a little bit more and I'll be better. No, you are who you are at that moment in time now. That's what I love about my métier. It's so Buddhist. You're always in the here and now. Maybe that's why I gave up architecture, because I had to wait 3 or 4 years before one of my building designs would be seen. But I love the here and now element of photography. You're pressing a shutter, you're making that decision, and that's who you are. And finally, I could take 50 students or 50 people, stick them in the same studio with the same light, the same model, and give them each of them 15 minutes. And I guarantee you not one of those images will look the same, because some people might be more extroverted. They're not shy. They'll walk right up into the model's face. Some people will get really strange and flip the girl upside down, put the chair on her. All these. And my point is, that's my point. That's just my point.
Yeah, you're going to always have your own take on something. So just embrace where you are at that moment.
Thank you for that.
I've been summarizing. I've been tying it all together. Benjamin.
Yeah, you are actually. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Benjamin, for joining us. You've had invaluable advice for all of our viewers.
I hope so. In 1 hour, it's tough.
It's tough.
Well, I hope you'll come back and we can extend it another hour and then repeat that 10 other times until we can get through everything fashion.
Listen,
explain the entire industry
to us. I have an
us.
offer for you. It's your choice. If you want to eventually do a series, you and I, we could talk about subjects and perhaps do a series of fashion 1, 2, and yeah, I'm open to that. I love it. It's for posterity, for my kids to hear all this stuff. It would be just absolutely perfect.
Well, thank you, Benjamin, and thank you to our sponsor, Squarespace. If you want your...
No, Tony. It's not that kind of show. Thank you, Sam.
My bad.
Thank you, Sam, for culling all those questions for us. And thank you, Justin, for making the show work. And, of course, you for watching. I hope you learned so much from Benjamin. He had so many great tips and so many great photos to show you. We'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.
That is all.
Are we staying on?
We are